Hello everyone and welcome to this mod review and showcase of Calm Before the Storm, a new mod for Hearts of Iron 4 that places the player in a 1933 start date. And from there, the player plays through and gradually gets to the next major global conflict, whether it's World War II or another similar conflict. Now this mod is currently in its beta, beta 0.1 Hurricane, so this is the earliest version of the mod. And as I said before, it begins in 1933. More specifically, the mod begins on the 1st of January 1933. January 1st, 1933 is the start date. So with all that out of the way, let us begin a new game. So the countries that have content so far in this mod are as follows. The United States of America, led by President Herbert Hoover. The French Republic, led by President Albert Lebrun. The United Kingdom, led by King George V. The Weimar Republic of Germany, led by President Paul von Hindenburg. The Kingdom of Italy, led by King Vittorio Emanuele III. The Soviet Union, led by Premier Joseph Stalin. The Empire of Japan, led by Emperor Hirohito. The United Mexican States, led by President Abelardo Rodriguez. The United States of Brazil, led by President Getulio Vargas. The Spanish Republic, led by President Niceto Alcala Zamora. The Kingdom of Norway, led by King Haakon VII. The Union of South Africa, led by Governor General George Villiers. The Kingdom of Yugoslavia, led by King Alexander I. The Polish Republic, led by President Ignacy Mościcki. And of course, the Ethiopian Empire, led by President Haile Selassie. So, let's look at the different countries. So, I think I'm going to start a game as the Weimar Republic, and it's one of the countries that has the most content. But let's take a look at the rest of the map. But before we do that, I am going to... it doesn't matter if we have historical AI focuses, but whatever. I'll just turn them off for now, I guess to make the game more interesting. So let us begin. Okay, so this is the intro event for Germany, and there's many different events that basically explain the political situation in Germany. Okay, so let's take a look at the map for a second. So let's look at the different factions that exist. So far it's just the Allies led by the United Kingdom and Comintern, or the Soviet bloc led by the Soviet Union. Now, it is the 1st of January, 1933. January 1st, 1933, in other words. So, let's take a look at Europe first. Okay, let's look at some of the other countries that, as of the initial release, do not have any content. And by content, I mean focus trees and events and whatnot. Okay, so there's the Kingdom of the Netherlands, led by Queen Wilhelmina. The Kingdom of Belgium, led by King Albert. The Grand Duchy of Luxembourg, led by Duchess Charlotte. Then there's the Irish Free State, led by Domhall Bruhala, who I believe was the Governor General of the Irish Free State. I believe he was the Governor General of the Irish Free State. Okay. And there's the Kingdom of Denmark, led by King Christian X. There's the Kingdom of Sweden, led by King Gustav V. The Republic of Finland, led by President Per Evind Svinfund. President Per Evind Svinfund. Hope I pronounced that right. And let's look at the Baltics. So there's the Republic of Lithuania, led by President Antanas Smetona, the Republic of Latvia, led by President Alberts Kvisis, the Republic of Estonia, led by President Konstantin Pats, or Konstantin Pates. Again, hope I'm pronouncing that right. Anyways, let's look at Portugal. There's the Portuguese Republic, led by President Oscar Carmona. Now let's look at the Balkans and Eastern Europe. Or the rest of Eastern Europe, I should say. There's Czechoslovakia, led by President Tomas Garriga. Okay, this is Czechoslovakia, or the Czechoslovak Republic, led by President Thomas Garriga Masaryk. And there's the Kingdom of Hungary, led by Regent Miklos Horthy. And in Central Europe, there's the Republic of Austria, led by President Wilhelm Miklas. There's the Kingdom of Romania, led by King Carol II. There's the Tsardom, or the Tsardom of Bulgaria, led by Tsar Boris III. There's the Kingdom of Albania, led by Zog I, also known as Skanderbeg III. Now we have the Hellenic Republic, led by President Alexandros Zymis. And there's the Republic of Turkey, led by President Mustafa Kemal Ataturk. And that's in the Middle East. So we're basically done looking at Europe. Now, one interesting thing about this game is that different colonies are represented as basically separate entities from the country itself, if that makes any sense. So basically, different colonies that are part of either, say, Britain or France are represented as separate entities from the rest of the country. Kind of like how the British Raj, while still a part of the British Empire, is represented in the game as its own thing. Same with like the Dutch East Indies. Although, as of yet, the Dutch East Indies aren't anything. But here's the British Raj, led by Governor General Freeman Thomas. So, okay, let's look at Morocco. So Morocco and Tunisia are depicted as protectorates of France, whereas in the base game, they're just represented as parts of France and not as protectorates. So this is a little more historically accurate, since both were protectorates of the French Empire, all the while they were still a part of France, but they were still like overseas protectorates. So Egypt is represented in a similar way, as a protectorate of Great Britain. And we can see the same thing with the Emirate of Transjordan. And we can see the same thing with the Syrian Republic, and I believe Lebanon as well. And then we have the Kingdom of Iraq, led by King Faisal I. And we have the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, led by Abdulaziz ibn Saud. And we have Yemen and Oman, who have the same leaders as they do in the base game. And the Omani leader even has a new portrait, but the Yemeni leader does not. And then there's the Imperial State of Persia, led by Reza Shah Pahlavi. And of course we have Southern Rhodesia, led by Cecil Hunter Rodwell. And who's leading out? Yeah, Liberia has the same president as in the base game, albeit with a different portrait. That would be Edwin Barclay. Alright, and the Belgian Congo is not depicted as its own thing, although in Road to 56 it is, which is interesting. Okay, so what else do we want to look at? There's the Kingdom of Siam. Now, is French Indochina depicted as its own thing? It is in Road to 56, and it is here as well. Now, is the Philippines depicted as its own thing? It is, under Governor Theodore Roosevelt Jr. Now, let's take a look at Australia and New Zealand. Australia is led by Governor General Isaac Isaacs, New Zealand by Governor General Charles Bathurst. Now let's take a look at the New World. The United States of America is, of course, led by Herbert Hoover, and Canada is led by Governor General Veer Ponsonby. Now, I should point out that in this game, heads of state are seen, or I should say that heads of state are shown as the leaders in the diplomacy screen, and not heads of government, as is the case in the base game of Hearts of Iron 4. So basically what you're seeing here is the head of state. So let's look at Germany's screen. So there's Paul von Hindenburg, he's the president of Germany, the head of state, and we can look at our cabinet. So Kurt von Schleicher is the head of government, he's the prime minister, or chancellor I should say. He's the chancellor of Germany at the start of the game. So basically, heads of government are represented as the leaders in the diplomacy screen. Or no, heads of state are represented as leaders in the diplomacy screen, and the heads of government are shown in the cabinet. Because this mod, similarly to Kaiserreich, has the whole cabinet system, where it shows different members of the cabinet. So there's no reason to put heads of government as portraits, since they're already represented in the cabinet. Whereas in the base game of Hearts of Iron 4, that's not the case. It's just a different representation of things, basically. Okay, so let's look at Switzerland. They're led by the Swiss Federal Council, with its own new portrait. So Newfoundland is depicted as its own dominion under Governor General David Murray Anderson. And I don't... Yeah, because Newfoundland was still its own dominion in 1933. And Iceland should be represented as its own, like, autonomous part of Denmark, but it's not. Now, is Puerto Rico represented as its own thing? No, it's not. It's still represented as part of the U.S. Okay. It's not represented as, like, an autonomous entity. But I guess that makes sense, because they weren't, like, autonomous. They were like a territory. Whereas the Philippines was, like, a much more autonomous territory. Okay, so... I forgot to point out, Morocco was led by Mohammed V, Tunisia by Ahmad II, Egypt by Fuad I, Syria by Mohammed Ali Bey al-Abed, and Lebanon by Charles de Batz. And Iraq by Faisal I. And Transjordan by Abdullah bin al-Hussein. Okay, so that's most of the old world, save for Asia. But I'll get to that in a minute. I'll get to Asia in a minute. In the meantime, I'll point out Afghanistan, led by Mohammed Nadir Shah. Okay, so we have the Republic of China, led by Chiang Kai-shek. And we have all these warlord states. Now we have the Mongolian People's Republic, led by Anand Dinamar, and Tanutuva, led by Salchak Chokha. So let's take a look at the different warlord states in China. We have the Guangdong clique, led by Chen Jitang, the Fujian clique, the Hunan clique, the 34th Division, the Guizhou clique, the 24th Army, the 21st Army, the 29th Army. We have the Yunnan clique, Ma clique, the 14th Root Army, the 29th Army, the 45th Army. I already pointed out the 21st Army. Then there's the Chinese Soviet Republic, led by Bo Gu, and this was before the Long March, so they're still in the south of China. I already pointed out the Fujian clique. I pointed out the... Okay, this is the Guangxi clique. This is the Guangdong clique. This is the Guizhou clique. That's the 14th Root Army. Then there's the Xinjiang clique. There's Hami. And there's the Turpan, which is basically the East Turkestan Republic, which existed briefly from like 1933 to 1934 or thereabouts. So there's the Shaanxi clique. There's the Yulin Garrison, the Shandong clique, Dongbei, and the state of Manchuria, or Manchukuo, which is a Japanese puppet state. And they're led by Emperor Puyi, the last emperor of China. And there's Tibet, led by Thubten Gyatso, the 13th Dalai Lama. Then there's Nepal and Bhutan. And Bhutan, okay, Nepal got a new, the Nepalese leader got, okay, the Nepalese leader is Tribhuwan Bir Bikram, okay, Tribhuwan Bir Bikram Shah, and the Kingdom of Bhutan, it's the same leaders in the base game. And Siam is led by King Rama VII. Okay. Now is British Malaya is not represented as its own autonomous entity, like in the base game. But they might add that in later. Same with the Dutch East Indies. Okay, so I basically pointed out every country in the world except for those in Latin America. So I'm going to get to that right now. So there's the Republic of Cuba led by President Gerardo Machado. There's Haiti led by President Stenio Vincent. Same leaders in the base game with a different portrait. Same with the Dominican Republic and President Rafael Trujillo. Now we gotta let's go to Central America. So there's the Republic of Guatemala led by President Jorge Ubico Castañeda. Well, there should be an Enye over that N, but just a minor typo. Okay, so there's the Republic of Honduras led by Tiburcio Carillas Andino. El Salvador led by Maximiliano Hernandez Martinez. Nicaragua led by Juan Batista Sacasa. Costa Rica led by Ricardo Jimenez Oriamuno. Ricardo Jimenez Oriamuno. And Panama led by Harmodio Arias Madrid. Many of the Central American leaders are the same ones as in the base game, save for the president of Nicaragua. Okay, so we have the United States of Venezuela, led by Juan Vicente Gomez. The Republic of Colombia, led by Enrique Olaya Herrera. Ecuador, led by Juan de Dios Martinez. Peru, led by Luis Miguel Sanchez Cerro. Bolivia, led by Daniel Salamanca Uday. Chile, led by Arturo Alessandri. Argentina, led by Agustin Pedro Justo. Paraguay, led by Eusebio Ayala. Uruguay, led by the Consejo Nacional de Administración. So that's basically all the countries in the world. I don't think I forgot any. Okay. Now, let me set up some research as Germany. Okay, now I need to build some factories. Let me build some cars, port equipment, motorized tanks. I guess I'll build a
Bereit zum Ausrücken!
Let me... Okay. Now let me look at my focus tree. So far, I can't do anything. I believe I have to wait for Hindenburg to establish a new government. So I'll just wait. In the meantime, let me look at my roster of generals.
Befehle?
Okay. So... Not a lot, but we have quite a few. I guess more will be added later. I'll just create a Berlin garrison. And
Zuhören! Zuhören! Bereit zum Ausrücken! Bereit zum Ausrücken! Bereit! Bereit! Befehle! Bereit! Bereit zum Ausrücken!
how could I forget about Ostpreußen, or East Prussia? So that's
Befehle!
7.
Achtung! Angetreten! Bereit!
Okay, I have no field marshals, so I guess it doesn't matter.
Befehle!
Alright, let's get this game started.
Zuhören! Achtung! Angetreten!
Empire of Japan declared war on Dongbei.
Bereit!
Interesting. So one thing I should point out about China is that it's way more detailed than the base game China, which just shows the Republic of China itself and a few other warlord cliques, whereas there's way more warlord cliques being depicted here, which is interesting. Now, back to Germany. Hindenburg is getting old, so he should be resigning soon, by the end of the month.
Bereit zum Ausrücken!
Okay, a new Reichskanzler. Kurt von Schleicher has decided to resign his position as Reichskanzler. The Reichstag and the people do not support him, and President Hindenburg has to choose someone else for the position. So who will I choose? A far-right candidate or a Democratic one? So I'm going to choose a Democratic candidate. Just to make things interesting and ahistorical. So I'm going to go with the Democratic candidate. President Hindenburg denounces extremism. With von Schleicher's resignation, President Hindenburg has issued a statement denouncing Hitler, Hugenberg, and other far-right politicians, and has decided to pick a new Reichskanzler from one of the center parties. No matter which one he picks, they will definitely have a difficult time maintaining stability in the country. The Weimar Republic stands strong. Okay. What happens now? So why did... Oh, that was weird. Okay, they just moved back. Bad. Okay, well, I gotta set up my troops again. Oh, I have to set up all that again? Okay, that's weird. Okay, this is sort of a... Okay. General von Rundstedt's portrait disappeared. That's weird. Ray doesn't have one. That's weird. Okay. Okay, the units don't speak German anymore. I guess that's just a bug. I don't know. I don't know what that's about, but... I Okay, I'm gonna make this simple. Just put them all in the same one. Okay. I don't know why it changes tags like that. That's kind of annoying, but I guess that's a bug they can fix later. Okay, now what happened? The Grand Coalition. So there's a few parties I can choose from. The DTSP, Deutsche Staatspartei, Deutsche Staatspartie, which is social liberal, the DVP, Deutsche Volksparty, which is liberal conservative, Zentrum, I believe? Yeah, Zentrum, that's social conservative, and then there's, yeah, that's just another faction of Zentrum. Okay, so I'm gonna go, I guess I'll go with, just say right here, Grand Coalition. President Paul von Hindenburg has refused to allow far-right parties to form a coalition, but has also refused to allow von Schleicher to enact martial law. As such, he must rely on a Republican Party to restore order to Germany. In a rushed discussion with some legal experts, it became clear that only if the Republican parties managed to form a grand coalition as they did under Hermann Mueller's chancellorship, could they show a position of unity and stability. However, we still have to appoint a figure to form the position of chancellor. so that they can have the mandate to form a coalition. Though the SPD is the largest Republican Party, they are still dangerous Marxists and cannot be given a position of leadership. Our first option is Hermann Dietrich of the SDP. Though his party is social liberal, he can appeal to SPD members and progressive intellectuals. Our second option is the National Liberal DVP led by Julius Curtius. Appointing the DVP can appeal to major industrialists and even get us support from some moderate nationalists. Our third option is Konrad Adenauer, an influential member of the Zentrum's party. Though he refused the position in 1926, the DVP was too Prussian for him. He would be a fool to refuse again, especially against the threat of Hitlerism and Marxism. Not only would he appeal to Catholic conservatives, his interest in working with Protestant conservatives could earn him further support. Finally, we could appoint Zentrum party leader Ludwig Kaas to the position. Already a compromised leader of his party, his focus is on political Catholicism and limiting the influence of Catholic trade unions. And importantly, he also shows sympathy for authoritarian solutions we have been using of late. The DSDP should have the mandate, the EVP has our sympathies, Adenauer should have a chance, Kaas should do well. I'm going to go with Adenauer should have a chance. So now, the Weimar Germany is under a social conservative government. And the sub-ideology of social conservatism is Christian democracy. And that's an interesting thing about this mod. There's different sub-ideologies. So, for example, Germany is under a social conservative government, but they're under the social conservative sub-ideology of Christian democracy. And in Great Britain, they're under a social conservative government, but they're under the Tory conservative sub-ideology. Okay, so let me look at my focus tree. I don't know why it's not open. It's not here yet. Okay, I can't do anything with it yet, but let me just wait. So Konrad Adenauer is the new chancellor. Adam Stegerwald is the foreign minister. Andreas Hermes is the economic minister. Josef Vermeer is the interior minister, and Konrad Patzig is the naval specialist. Let me just look at the different. Okay, so there's tons of different people I can appoint to my cabinet. I have different companies. Some of them don't have icons yet, but that can always be added in later. Okay. So let's look at the different parties of Germany. Interesting. Okay. Negotiating with the DVP. After the death of Gustav Stresemann, the German People's Party has moved significantly rightward. Though ostensibly a Republican party, many of its members barely accept it and even call for the restoration of the monarchy. However, if we were to secure the stability of the nation, we must negotiate for their support. A few hours of negotiations have shown that the DVP will accept our terms of coalition if they are granted the foreign ministry. Stresemann was likely the Republic's most successful foreign minister, and though the party has changed since his death, the DVP could still carry respect internationally. In addition, their anti-socialist mindset could appeal to liberals and conservatives in the UK and France. Okay, we'll agree to their terms. Okay, so now I have a new foreign minister. That would be Rudolf Asness. Okay, let us continue. Negotiating with the DSTP. The German State Party is a far cry from the old German Democratic Party. However, having the progressive liberals in our coalition would still be a great boon, as we can position them once again as the party of intellectuals and small business owners. Much like the DVP, we will need to give up an important cabinet position to satisfy them, despite their party's current status. However, they have two seats in the Reichstag, and 2 seats for us means they will not be against us. Why not? So now I have a new economic minister. Ernst Trendelenburg. Dealing with a demon. At present, the Grand Coalition has support from nearly 20% of the Reichstag, but this is nothing compared to the Hitlerists, who have about a third on their own, and the Communists, who have nearly as much as we do combined. In order to fix this issue, we will need to negotiate with parties on the edge of the center. We could negotiate with Otto Wels and the SPD, seeing as they have an interest in maintaining the Republic, and more importantly, has 121 seats alone. Though they may be a Marxist, with them, we would have about 40% of the Reichstag on our side. On the other hand, we could negotiate with the rogue faction of the German National People's Party, which technically accepts the Republic but continues to advocate for nationalist agrarian policies. Such an alliance would be controversial and limit our support within the Reichstag, but provide us an ally who can draw support away from the extreme right. So I'm just going to work with the SPD. Meeting with the Marxists. We decided in order to secure parliamentary support for the Grand Coalition, we have to negotiate with the Social Democratic Party. Being reformist, the SPD stands against the revolutionary activities of the Communists and does have an incentive to work with us to secure Republican stability. Though relations are cordial, it is clear that we will have to offer them multiple ministerial positions in order to gain their support. We can give the Social Democrats the ministries of labor, transport, and employment, thus gaining the trust of the working people. The socialists are welcome. Okay, so I should note that it might be a little hard to see, but the different political parties that have a yellow thing around the squares, or a yellow border around their squares, that means they're part of the coalition. So I have the SPD, Radikalen and Moderaten, the DSTP, the DVP, and Zentrum as a part of my coalition. So basically most of the Democratic parties, or most of the major Democratic parties. Okay, now I can national focus bypassed, last chance for democracy. Okay, so what focus can I pick now? Coalition with the left. That'll give me 20 political power. I'm gonna go with End the Camarilla. President Hindenburg has been a puppet of General von Schleicher for far too long. We should draft a bill that would end the 24-48-53 formula that allows von Schleicher to manipulate politics through Hindenburg ruling by decree. It is now the Grand Coalition that rules. Okay. So this is the focus tree for... This is basically Germany's democratic focus tree, with Zentrum at the head of the Democratic Coalition. And I've made a coalition with the left, the SPD, rather than the DNVP. So basically I can go down this whole focus tree, which towards the end I get to arrest both Ernst Thälmann and Adolf Hitler. And with both of them arrested, I can make Germany a free and democratic country. Well, Germany is already a free and democratic country now, but I can basically ensure that Germany stays that way. And I can outlaw both the KPD and the NSDAP. So, yeah, that's good. Let us continue. So, okay, so this is the Reichstag game mechanic. So this is basically just an explanation of the Parliament game mechanic. And I don't have any laws so far, but that will come later. Liberals form government in Norway. The former Norwegian government, led by Prime Minister Jens Hundseed from the Agrarian Party, fell after a vote of no confidence gained majority thanks to the seats from the Liberal and the Social Democratic Party. The Hundseed government was a troubled one with little support both within and outside the government. It failed to deal with the economic crisis, and unemployment only rose under it. The new government consists solely of the Liberal Party, with its parliamentary leader, Johan Mowinckel, becoming Prime Minister, which will be his third government. Interesting. Franklin Delano Roosevelt inaugurated. Today, Franklin Delano Roosevelt has been inaugurated as the new President of the United States of America. He was elected 5 months ago as a candidate from the Democratic Party, promising to fix the catastrophic economic situation the USA finds itself in. His economic program, called the New Deal, may bring the industrial giant into a new golden era and may completely ruin the battered nation. And the strength of the USA is a key component in international diplomatic and economical relations. We'll follow his presidency with earnest. Okay. Okay, Mowinkel's third cabinet. Now, for some reason, I don't know why, but I can't see... Okay, there's the cabinet. So there's Prime Minister Mowinkel. So that's where I can see the cabinets of other countries in the Intel ledger. And here's the United States of America, and there's President Franklin Delano Roosevelt. And at the start of the game, America has a few different puppet states. Those would be Nicaragua, Haiti, and which is basically like a territory, an overseas territory of the United States that's like semi-autonomous. Well, in 1933, the Philippines was basically like an overseas territory. The Commonwealth, which is basically like the Philippines is a self-governing territory of the United States, that was formed in 1935, I believe, so a little later. Anyways, let's expand welfare payments. Build some more infantry. I'm going to research some more Panzer technology. Now, do the countries without... Okay. Let me look at the Netherlands just for 1 second. Okay, this is basically... Okay, this is basically the generic tree. I can look at... Like, let me look at Belgium just for 1 second. Okay, they basically have the same tree. Now, can I... Do they have a cabinet? I guess they don't have one, or it's not represented. Like Belgium, I don't see their cabinet either. Okay. Well, they have a cabinet, but they don't have icons yet. But again, those can be added later. As for the Netherlands, oh no, they have a cabinet, of course, but there's just no icons. Okay. Now I'm going to deal with both the far left and the far right in Germany. Okay, let me just look at some of the other countries that don't have focus trees yet. Or at least don't have their own focus trees. Okay, so Czechoslovakia does have... Okay, that's Poland. Now, Czechoslovakia does have its own cabinet, as I just pointed out. Hang on. Okay, there we go. Hang on. Okay, now to deal with the far right. Anyways, let's look at Hungary. Okay, they only have like one cabinet minister. Romania has a cabinet. Yugoslavia has a focus tree though, but let's look at Bulgaria. Okay, they do, but they got no, like, photos. Hang on. Okay, where's Portugal's? Okay, let me press. I guess Portugal doesn't have their cabinet represented yet. Okay. Anyways, I'm going to disarm the Reichsbanner. So I don't want them as their paramilitary, and I want to disband the paramilitaries to make democracy safe within Germany. So some countries, it seems, don't have their cabinets, like, represented yet. Or maybe if I click again, I'll see them? Okay, apparently not. It is what it is. But they can always be added in later. It seems like a lot of the Latin American countries don't have their cabinets represented yet. The ones that do are the ones that have focus trees. War has begun. Now, technically, it already began in 1933. Sorry. Technically, the Chaco War had already began in 1932. So, I don't know. Maybe they'll make it so that at the start of the game, it's already ongoing. I don't know. After many attempts to... Okay, the Chaco War. After many attempts to find a diplomatic solution by part of the United States and neighboring South American nations, Paraguay has decided to formally declare war on Bolivia after many skirmishes in the Great Chaco region by Bolivian soldiers and counterattacks by the part of the Paraguayan army. The Grand Chaco region has been a source of great conflict over the past decades, which intensified after the discovery of oil in the Andean foothills that sparked speculation that Chaco might prove a rich source of petroleum. Interesting. So let me look at the Reichstag again. Go attend the Camarilla. Okay. Interesting. And I'm gonna go with. Okay. Well, I can't do two laws at the same time, so I'll just wait for that to finish. I want to look at the focus tree. I'm gonna go with disarm the Stahlhelm. That's another paramilitary that needs to be disbanded. There's another part of the focus tree, but I can't do that yet. Then there's also the Navy focus tree. Okay, well, there's the Army. This is basically like the military focus tree, which includes the Army, the Navy, and the Air Force. But I can't do that just yet. I basically have to finish this political focus tree first. This one all the way over here that I'm working on. Now, there's also a foreign policy tree that's all the way down here. But once again, I cannot do that until later. Let's see. Can I recruit soldiers? I'm going to recruit a few infantry divisions. Okay, Turkey has their cabinet represented. Now I'm going to go with the following focuses. Anti-communist and... Okay, I'm going to do the following two focuses now. Anti-communist propaganda and anti-nationalist propaganda. Australia and New Zealand have their cabinets, but they don't have icons for them yet. Once again, I should mention that this mod is in beta, so a lot of the little things they're forgetting, like a lot of the cosmetic stuff, can be added in later. It looks like East Turkestan took over all of Xinjiang, which is pretty cool. Okay, back to Europe. I'm going to go for increased now to go for anti-nationalist propaganda. For my own intelligence, I don't have enough stone factories. So that'll have to come later. Take too long. I'll just research something else. Just you know what? Okay. Yeah, I'll go for this. I'll research some mobile warfare. And I'm gonna go for ready the army. Now these two parts of the focus tree basically deal with suppressing the communists and the National Socialists. And after that, the remaining paramilitaries can be disbanded. And Germany can become politically stable once again. Okay, I'm going to go for this law. Free meals for school children. So, I'm not going to negotiate with the National Socialists. I'm going to suppress them. So, that's all the laws I can do for now. Trade some rubber with the Netherlands. I'm going to go for... I went for the Red Spectre, now I'm going to go for the Brown Shadow. curtail red militias. Center-right wins the Spanish election. After an attempted coup, violent incidents involving anarchists, Catholic members of the opposition, and radical members of the Socialist Workers' Party of Spain, fall the center-left cabinet was almost inevitable. Subsequent elections, boycotted by the anarchist National Workers, was won by the right-wing CEDA in an alliance with the centrist PRR, whose leader, Alejandro Lerroux, is expected to form a new cabinet in the coming days. This was also the first time Spanish women could vote after the approval of the Constitution of 1931. That really wasn't a surprise. So now Spain is under a new government. The Partido Republicano Radical, which is liberal conservative. Okay. Is that their new government? Okay. Well, I don't see the CEDA as a part of the government. No, I think, okay, the government should change, or this is the new government. I forget, but I'm going to confront the brown shirts now. Okay. So I have some outdated equipment. Let me just fix that. Okay, it is now the 1st of January 1934, so I've been playing the game for a year. Now I'm almost done with the initial German focus tree. After that, I can do the other ones. So I might make a follow-up to this video later and explore some of the other German focus trees. And I might also explore some of the other alternative German political trees. And I'm also definitely going to make some videos on the Second Russian Civil War that can happen in the USSR, and also some of the alternative possibilities with the Spanish Civil War. Anyways, I'm very much enjoying this mod so far. I can't wait for them to add new content, and I'm especially excited for new cosmetic content, which should also be very cool. You know, like stuff like the cabinets and the different ministers and all that stuff. I'm basically really excited for them to add new portraits to all the cabinets of all the nations. And I'm also excited for them to add new generals, new admirals, new icons for the different companies. There's a lot of possibilities, and I'm really excited for what this mod has to offer in the future. So anyways, I really enjoyed playing this. That is all.